care of his parents' livestock. Then Professor Samuel started primary education in the year 1958 at Kenya Primary School, which was about 5 kilometers from home. He was transferred to Kajere West Primary in 1959 when it was started, and remained there up to 1961 when he started for common entrance examination and he passed well. He was admitted at Mukango Primary School for intermediate education. He remained there for only 1 year and moved back to Kenya Primary School because the parents moved from colonial village to the ancestral land, which was nearer. He started for Kenya Primary Education and passed well and was admitted to Kariuki Boys School in 1966. He started for Cambridge School examination, once again passed well and was admitted to A level at the Machakos Boys High School. Instead, he chose to join Kenyatta College for a diploma in education so that he could help his parents to educate his young siblings. Professor obtained his BA in botany in North Carolina University at Chapel Hill in America in 1984. Masters of Science in Natural Resource Management and Sustainable Agriculture at AS University, Norway, in 1989, and PhD in Botany at Egerton University in 2006. Professor Samuel Kariuki met the love of his life, Lydia, in the year 1974 while teaching at Karumande High School. They solemnized their marriage and did a holy matrimonial wedding at the St. Mary's Church, Karumande, Kirinyaga County. They were blessed with 4 children, namely Caroline Wangoi, Charles Maina, Beatrice Wanjiro, and Robert Karuga, and 3 grandchildren, namely Stephen Gare, Nia Nyawera, and Isa Kariuki. He has been blessed with 2 sons-in-law, that is Samuel Gakungo and Godwin Karuga, and 1 daughter-in-law by the name Catherine Karanja, who all of them he included as his sons and a daughter, and he proudly said he has 7 children. Professor Kariuki attended Sunday school at the Anglican Church, Kenya, where his parents were followers. He was baptized and later confirmed. He has been a great supporter of the local church. He has participated in the various developments of the local churches in Kirinyaga. His financial and material support has greatly helped his local church to complete the new permanent church. One of the key church founder members was his late mother, Hannah Thomas Barbion. He has been Crown's pastor in various occasions. Every December, the Crown always attends Thanksgiving at our home church, Kirinyaga, and Professor has been the Crown representative in all these years. Having moved to Egerton University, Egerton College in 1978, as a staff member of Anglican Church of Kenya, he joined AC research work and extension, especially in the foods, in the fibers, in aloe, and in the mushrooms. He was founder and coordinator of the beautiful Egerton University Botanical Garden and Biodiversity Center. He was in charge of the conservation outreach program. Professor has published a book on Egerton University Botanical Garden, and with others including me, has drafted a book on medicinal plants in Kenya. He was a working plant dictionary that I can testify. I will just take a photo of the plant. I find it probably even here. I would send, and soon he would tell me this plant is called Nyarubiro in the Luo, but scientifically it's called this and this. He was passionate about plants in terms of their identity, where they are found, how they can be conserved, and how they can be applied economically by Mwananchi. He worked with different communities in Kenya, in different projects in pursuit of further understanding about local plants, their economic value, how we can have value addition, and how we can conserve them, and where these plants live. He contributed greatly in reforestation of Mount Joro watershed complex rehabilitation and was very concerned about improvement on food security in Kenya. He has been intensely involved in carrying out research work on herbal medicine, in which he has collaborated with the traditional herbalists in Kenya and Chinese universities to scientifically improve on the quality of the herbal medicine in Nakuru County. To his credit, a number of these herbal plants have been introduced and planted in Egerton University Botanical Garden, where he was in charge of Herbal Medicine Center. Validation of traditional herbal medicines used in Kenya. Such is the feasibility study on commercialization of aloe plants. I hope some of you know what this aloe plant is. In Baringo, Saburu, Laikipia, Marakwet, and West Pokot counties. Professor has worked with other countries, countries like US, countries like China, in some of these universities. He has also published quite a number of papers, especially on insects, how they can be killed, how they can be stopped from feeding on our plants, and how they can be repelled from feeding on our plants. He has also been involved in traditional medicine used by Ogek community of River Joro area. He has even done some work on poultry manure and countdown on what this can do to the growth and to the walls. He has also published something on what we call neem, that can treat or supposed to treat water diseases, and the bacteria which are found in our teeth. Professor started feeling unwell just recently, 23rd October 2020, and he was taken to various hospitals in Nakuru. On 26th October, he was transferred to Karen Hospital in Nairobi for further medication. And from what he was telling us and from what the medical group were telling us, he was responding very well to medical care. Every time we ask you, how are you? And say, I'm much better, I'm even doing exercise. I may come to see you tomorrow. Never happened. Because on 5th November 2020, at 10:15, he was uplifted to the higher glory by our Lord. The Lord gives, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus.
Thank you, brother. Nekoi uleona ma rwanda gekoyo. Gushire gutire. Leo kaje deliga kanegoria area assistant chief, kana chief, kana wode uleona ma administration, atikere mukanige natanyi kiogani. Ayo kwa nikoli. Onekana tagutari lenga kaita twario habangi nivenda liba.
Thank you. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. God is good and all the time. Thank you so much. Bishop, we are very honored because of also hosting us here all the way from Nakuru, and also giving us an opportunity that we can be able to bid farewell to our beloved brother, Professor S.T. Kariuki. And your presence here to grace the occasion is a very big honor for us and for the family, and we are really humbled. Tunashukuru sana kwa sababu ya kila mmoja ambaye amekuja, na tutachukua muda mrefu kwa sababu kama vile askofu ametuelezea, we need just to be faithful to the protocols that are laid. And at this particular time, I just want to invite our brother on our behalf, Kariuki Kabuitu, so that aweze kutuongoza katika hiyo program ya kuita wale watakaofanya tributes. And I want to request wale watapewa nafasi hiyo wa kufanya, tufanye kwa wakati mfupi. And we are also by the permission of the bishop, because we are so mixed. Ukipewa nafasi kusema kitu, unaweza kutumia lugha ya Kiswahili, Kiingereza, kwa maana watu wengi hata familia wanaweza kuwa na shida ya kuelewa Kikuyu. And I know that God will bless us. We can please.
Bwana asifiwe. Kama vile Archdeacon na Vicar wa Menengai Parish huko Nakuru, na ambaye anasimamia kanisa la ACK St. Christopher's Church, mahali ambapo Profesa St. Kariuki alikuwa anaabudu pamoja na familia yake. Nimepewa kazi ya kuwaita wale ambao watanena, na kwa sababu mko na programs, ningetaka mkaribie nafasi yako ikifika, ili tuweze kuokoa muda. Tafadhalini, kwa sababu naona tuna watu wengi wa kunena, tunene kwa kifupi, na kama vile ilivyo katika program hii, tutaanza na tributes. Tukianza na tribute ya mke wa Profesa St. Kariuki, naye ni Mrs. Lydia Kariuki. Asongee hapa mbele ndio aweze kusoma tribute yake, na naona Faith Wanjoi ataandamana na yeye na kumshika ili aweze kusoma tribute yake kwa yule ambaye alikuwa anampenda sana.
Bwana asifiwe. Nitasoma kwa niaba ya Lydia au Faith Wanjoi Mwangi, and I read. Sometimes back in 1973, we met and became friends. Our regular meetings became so deep, and we decided to live together. Since then, our love for each other increased every day. My dear husband and the father of my children, the love and support for the family, no one will feel that gap. You have taken me to many places, both locally and abroad. We had fun. This year, you promised me, take me to Israel, where you were when you retire. Little did I know that it would not happen. God had other plans for us. My dear husband, I know you are resting in eternity, where there is no pain, no sorrow, resting in vengeance. I know we shall meet in that beautiful land. Fare thee well, my love, till we meet again. I will miss your presence. I love you. Bye, bye, and bye. Amen.
Asante sana. Mungu aendelee kukupatia nguvu. Lydia, God is with you. We call the next person to give a tribute, and this is the firstborn in the family, Karuga, lakini bado anatumia wakati mwingine jina la baba Kariuki, lakini ni Karuga sasa, akiandamana na bwana yake. Tafadhali.
Daddy, this is what I wrote about you on Father's Day this year. Little did I know it would also be the year you leave us. I wrote, Happy Father's Day. I have so many ways and words to describe you. But today, the ones that come to mind are presence, because you are always present. And if you look at all the photos that we picked, just a few, you can see how present he was to all of us, the big clan, and his friends and his workmates. Wise, as you heard from the eulogy. Provision, and not from abundance. Whatever little he had, he really provided for all of us and anyone he met with need. Peaceful, was the most humble man I ever met, and always seeking peace with everyone. Faithful, sharing, family first. And we can tell many stories of how his family came first. I remember, I can just give 2 examples. When I first came to college in Nairobi, for many students, you come and you do registration and everything yourself. But mom and dad brought me, made sure I'd registered, finished everything, made sure I'd found a room, and settled me before they drove back to Nakuru. And that was dad. Integrity. He always said, never take anything from anyone that is not yours. Passionate. He was passionate about his work, and if you read most of the tributes, you see the passion that he did his work and how he loved people. Dedicated to working hard without seeking glory or recognition. A lot of people would have known him if he sought recognition, but Dad never wanted that. He just wanted to do his work. Lavish loving. He just loved without expecting back. Embracing and never holding back, even to those who are not so kind to him. I don't know how you do it, I wrote. Excel in your career as a professor, holding the family and clan together, providing for our needs as we grew up, and even today, if we need anything, you almost break your legs to be present and always provide. Being present in all occasions, small and big for all of us, and even your friends, that I wonder what I do with my own 24 hours in a day. Apart from excelling in school, you taught me to excel in all I put my hands and mind to. When I grow up, and taught and gave me such confidence and security as a teenager that with God in the mix, He has carried me through adulthood. Watching you and your relationship with God, I'm reminded daily of His existence, love, faithfulness, and so much more when in doubt. The bar is too high, Dad, and it keeps me aiming higher. So I wrote that during Father's Day this year. Then there's today. Daddy, as I referred to you, and Mom, and all of us called you that. She would tell us all about it and say, your daddy said this, your daddy did this. Or should just refer you as daddy. I don't know what I can say. I've thought about what I could write and words fall short. But I'll try to say a few. I think of the person I am today, and I realize it's because you taught me and believed in me. My image of God as Father first came from you. When I became a Christian, you were my first love as a girl, and my path to God was made easier because of you. As an adult, we became partners in doing things together for the family, for each other. We discussed our individual dreams and work. I watched you grow in your faith to the point where we would meet as the clan. You become the default teacher of the word. God, the clan, and people are more important to you than anything else in the world. And just a few weeks before Dad died, just to show you how important he was to people, he went to help my cousin find a wife in Embu just so recently, because that's who he was. It didn't matter what he needed to do. Watching you become a Christian when I was in my last year of college, after I had prayed for you for years, was the most exciting thing for me. You are a good person and a scientist. You reasoned over everything, but without drama. One day decided being good and doing all the right things was not enough, and that only made God as God made us good, and also there was heaven. You now could be a God-fearing scientist, a rare combination. I watched you live with Shushu for the last 7 years, as you and Mom took such great care of her. It was also the season she passed most of the clan leadership. She was a matriarch of the clan, always leading us in everything to you, and you became the default clan leader. You and Mom's home became the center for clan decision-making beyond the nuclear family. You were keen to continue with the clan traditions that Shushu had established. Easter at Nakuru, December 12th at Kirinyaga, the church that we went to pray for you this morning, because you led us there for Thanksgiving every year, which is Shushu's original home and church. Would go to that church even without her, and she had ensured we finished and continued to participate in it as she grew older. We never see ourselves as extended family relations, including those who join the family by marriage, but they just become mothers, fathers, or sisters and brothers. Then Christmas or New Year was out of town, and we all loved going out of town. Especially the coast became the default the last 8 years. The last one we did together was the last New Year. While those were the established times in the clan, birthdays, graduations, education has always been at the heart of the clan and most celebrated. All manner of celebrations, happy and sad, or just an excuse to hang out, have always been a time for the clan to be together, to support and celebrate one another. We are always each other's cheerleaders, and you and Mom always lead fathers in Nakuru from the rest of the clan that is mostly in Nairobi and Kirinyaga. But that didn't deter you from being present always, even if it meant driving before daybreak and late at night. Presence for you was so important. You not only made friends with those who you had common interests with, but young and old, and I'm sure you'll hear from a few young ones from all walks of life. You would light up when you came to visit me and my friends who were around, whether they were my girlfriends or their husbands and their other friends. You just always embrace them as your daughters and your sons. Your programs would change just to enjoy hanging out with them, and her friends would come and visit and even stay for the night with you and Mom without me. You were always ready to open your home for everyone who needed help, was passing by, needed shelter for night. We lived in Egerton University. The students, both their relatives and their friends, always filled our home. And having been a student later, I know how special it is when others open their home to you for good homemade meals, stayovers, and a sense of family. There was something others did. This became what others did for me when I came to Nairobi, and it must have been a reward to you and Mom for doing the same for many others. I remember growing up with many of my relatives visiting or staying with us, and even us visiting and staying with them, and we loved it. We didn't care if we had to share beds or sleep on the floor. It was the best thing that happened to us. We went home during all holidays here in Kirinyaga and enjoyed visiting relatives and your friends daily as we bonded with other members of the clan who also joined in during the holidays. Those were fun days of growing up that we continue to adulthood. You just had a way to keep up with everyone in the country and out of the country. One incident I recall was the post-election violence in 2007 when we were so worried for both you and Mom, but you spent your time rescuing everyone, no matter their tribe, and really everyone. Also the last maybe 4 weeks before Dad died, he did what he does best. He was in Siaya with the farmers, helping them to plant climate-resistant crops and just helping them with all their work. If they needed help, he was there. That year I worried more for Mom because she was a sickly one. You never got sick. The most I remember is a cold or malaria, which you treat with the herbs or get some over-the-counter medication if you really needed to. So when you got sick, that was really stressful for 10 days. You had gone through so many incidents that could have taken your life out, like a bad accident with your friend in the 80s who I know is here, and you left both of you unscarred. You're sleeping and realizing there was a big snake in your room during one of your field trips, and you survived. A stalled ferry in Zanzibar, and many more as you told us the stories. Shushu and Buka lived to over 100 years and died in their sleep out of old age, not ill health. I was confident you would follow suit because you were so healthy and I believed you had your genes. And then we lost Auntie May this year, 76, your eldest sister. I was sad. and started to pray that God would cover the family with his protection like he had done over the years. My prayer for the clan has been Psalms 91. And again, today I ask, may he remember us again. Let me take this time to honor Mom. She couldn't speak today because she lost the love of her heart. She has been the anchor as your partner. She took care of Shosho so selflessly that at one time when Shosho was in hospital, she got admitted with her to care for her even in hospital. She has been with you at all times. She would take care of us when you traveled for studies for long periods of time. And many times, you were so faithful that monthly you wrote to us. You sent postcards, birthday cards, Christmas cards without fail. You would hang the Christmas cards on the Christmas tree and fight over those who should take what spot. We looked forward to comparing cards with each other, and I imagine how hard that was without technology, or what you had to go through in the shops, choosing it for everyone. That was so special. Mom retired and you grew up, and the two of you even got closer. You traveled together unless you were going for field work. She even now traveled with you for your chama meetings. And I know one of your friends will speak with your friends and relatives in Nairobi, which you were committed to every month, and the only one coming out of town. When any of you came without the other, immediately you said your greetings, you'd call the other one. It was so special to see how your love for each other blossomed over there. That I can write and write, but I'll not finish what I have to say about you. So I'll stop here. But before I end, I'm forever grateful for the most important gift you gave me last year, which was to walk me down the aisle. And I know even after just about 3-4 weeks, I wasn't feeling well, and you and Mom again came to visit. I know you are happy to add another son, and I know you have left me in good hands with God, who will help me with the firstborn role as characteristic.
Students, friends, some examples: the walking botanical garden, professional mentor, poet of plants, the Viking, friendly, polite, fun person, silent, loud, strict, soft, man of God. I stand here to tell you, as those that knew him, he was all the above. Since I became a husband and a father, sometimes when I feel like I am struggling in life, or even at work, when I'm struggling at work with either a project or colleagues, I take walks. I take long walks, an hour walk, 2-hour walks. And I think about, in this situation, if I called my dad, what would he say to me? I have never done it, because once I am done with those walks, I kind of have an idea of what my dad would say. He was such kind of a person. You kind of knew where he stood, and you really did not need to consult him. Dad loved his work. He lived, dreamed, sleep-talked about his work. He loved the Egerton Botanical Garden. That was his baby. Dad was getting close to his retirement. He talked about it, and I know he was getting ready for it. And as Mom had just recently retired a few years back, and we grew up in a home where they really worked hard to make sure we did not lack anything. They made sure we went to as high as school you wanted to go, and would always encourage you, go for your bachelor's, go for your master's, go for your PhD. Those were the kind of parents we grew up with. Once Mom retired, she became like a right-hand person in his work. They traveled together, they vacationed together. And Dad, Mom, I want to tell you, you stood with Dad until his last day, and this is your time to please retire. We will take care of you. It's our time to stand up and make sure you do not lack and know that as I would walk knowing what Dad would tell me, know that we are thinking of you and you will never lack of anything. He loved his church, from the church in Joro, church in Kirinyaga, where we just came from, and St. Christopher's. This was his home church. But most of all, he loved his church Mtaa. That was his family. And to the Mtaa members, I want to say thank you. Thank you for loving my dad, and thank you for being there for our mom. My dad loved his family. My cousins are literally my siblings, and that is how we were raised. To all my KIG members, I know you have lost a dad too. He loved his grandchildren. Steve, I know we do look alike. He loved you, and he beamed every time you were mentioned. I was told if you feel like crying when you're doing a speech, kind of have a deep voice and you can keep going. So I'll try and do that. In his last days, when we would video call or text, I would try to learn how he was doing and feeling. He would quickly say how tremendously well he was doing, then ask about Nyawera and Kariuki. He'd smile as I told him all the mischievous things Nyawera was doing, how well she was doing in school, and he would laugh as I told him how Kariuki had started eating some porridge and not wanting to stop. He really loved his grandchildren a lot. Dad, I want to tell you that I will make sure that your grandchildren will grow up knowing every element about you. And I have Mom here to help and the rest of the clan. This is a promise. Dad, Catherine, Nia, Isa, and I will continue a legacy of generosity and humbleness. Your last text to me was that you could not wait to meet Kariuki in person, God willing. For those that do not know, he is only 5 months old. But as Proverbs 16:1 says, man may make plans, but God has the last word. We love and we will miss you, Dad. Grandpa.
Thank you, Karuga. Someone was to read the tribute for victories. And I think we are done. Maina, are you okay? Okay, so these are the children. We are giving them priority. When we come to the other speakers, I think you will be very brief. We wanted to give priority to the children.
I'm going to read my sister's Beatrice tribute to Dad. Did God choose his best from the garden? I believe so. In tears, yes, he did. Dad, nothing can replace you, for you gave your all to everyone. From my childhood, it was easy to play around you, and even when I grew up, I still found it easy to joke with you. Your tough measures when it came to academics will remain in generations to come. How we all froze with our report books when we came home, so that's still how my dad asked. So does my son when you asked for his. Excuse me. Your integrity and values have been passed to us all. What is wrong, and honesty is what you preached. Your Christian values tell it all. Your helping hand goes far beyond the borders. You opened our home to many, and it will remain so. So you gave us hope for the future and never missed your words. I can only give you good education. The rest, ni yenu. That was my dad. You hardly punished us, but your eyes meant it all. Dad, I visited you each day at the hospital, and you gave me hope for a better day. I cried each day I left your room, but I prayed you would get healed. It was hard for me when you said these words. Tell your mom I'm okay. You know we have always loved each other and done everything together. I never got the courage to tell her. You once told us with Godwin we must all stay together and love each other as a family. On the 4th, you spoke of just wanting to go home, but I never knew which home you meant. You are with Angel's dad. Watch over us. Please wipe my tears someday, Dad.
I'll read a few. My younger brother who follows me is a man of few words, but his words are heavy and strong. Dad, you're the rock that never withers, the pillar that never shrinks, the friend that never leaves. What more can I say?
Thank you. So the children, we give them all the time. So for the others, we'll keep our tributes very short. A nephew. That is Steve Gary. Steve Gary.
Dearest Grandpa, I feel honored and privileged to have been your grandson. You are a wonderful grandfather, one who never really grew old. Wonderful you.
Dearest grandfather, I feel honored and privileged to have been your grandson. You are a wonderful grandfather. No, one who never really grew old, who never hid his smile. A hard-working man who put a lot of effort in his work so as to achieve great targets, and who showed love and care to all. You gave us many gifts, but the most wonderful gift you could ever give is a special part of you that now lives in each of us. Your connection still lives on, although you are far from here. Until we meet again, it's professional.
And this is from Nyawera.
Grandma, I know you're missing Grandpa, but it's gonna be okay. You're watching the dog below. I love you, Grandma. And Grandma, that's dream of Grandpa. That's pretend Grandpa is right next to you. I know you're sad, shows. I know you're sad, so but he's watching you in the heaven. Bye, so.
Okay, thank you. I will now call upon a sister of the late Professor Faith Jerry Joy. Please come. And from now, all the rest of the speakers, please be brief because we are short of time.
I'm going to read a tribute to my brother. Baba Karo, as we always referred him to, you are a brother like no other. You are humble, kind, with a big
You are a brother like no other. You are humble, kind, and with a big enough heart to love us all as your brother, sister, and our children. We thank God for such a wonderful person to be our beloved brother, father figure, uncle, and grandfather. My brother was a special person to the hearts of many in our family for his dependable wisdom and love for all. His tenderness and consideration for others made him take time to listen and understand, which earned a lot of respect and admiration. Together with our elder brother, he educated us, the younger siblings, when our parents were not able. We fondly remember during our Christmas and Easter holidays, he preaching to us on love and humility amongst other things. He never failed to join with us as a family in any occasion and stand in as a father. Come rain, come shine, you are there for the whole family as a pillar of support and embrace each person as your own. You are role model to your nieces and nephews for your outstanding character. You stayed with our mother for several years without complaining and always providing for her all that she needed.
Rosemary Maina and Tom Mwangi, for their coming over here. Please be brief.
Good morning. I know we all have a heavy heart, but it is still a very good morning because it's what my uncle would have wanted us to do to celebrate him. And so my name is Rosemary Maina. If the nieces were to stand here, I know they would say them. So yes, you are an uncle, a friend, a mentor, and an inspiration to many. For some, you are and you will still remain a father. The cruel hand of death has robbed us of a great man, an educator, a humble, kind, and loving man. In your humble demeanor, few would have known how much knowledge you possessed until they got to speak with you. It is still very difficult to believe that you are physically gone, because I truly believe that he is only physically gone. He is still with us here. Your body might be gone from this world, but your spirit will live on in our hearts forever. Each of us has had not one, but very, very many special moments we shared with you. I personally remember the almost 3 weeks we spent in the United States of America when in the shopping frenzy, the ladies here will understand, when you get out there, the only opportunity you see is an opportunity to shop. And so I would get lost in the shops, trying as many outfits as possible. And the ladies that are here, I'm sure you understand what that means. So what my uncle would do, he would kind of reprimand Aunt Lydia here and Aunt Diana, who wasn't able to join us, and she would ask this, he would ask this, allow me to say it in Greek because it comes out better this way. And he would ask, Haya, keha kana kareka rusia witu. If you're seated next to a Greek person, please ask them to translate, they will. And oh, didn't you just love trees? In every state we visited, botanical gardens were your key attraction. I didn't understand then, but now I do. And now I know the depth of your love affair with plants, a manifestation of God's majesty on earth. Your love for knowledge was unparalleled. And in 2018, together with Aunt Lydia, you drove all the way from Nakuru to attend my daughter's graduation Thanksgiving ceremony. And even when you missed Koi, my other daughter's graduation Thanksgiving ceremony, you called me a number of times trying to change. But I also know that when you have a date with these men of God here, it is very difficult to change. So he called me several times asking me if I could change. I wasn't able to change, and the reason why he wasn't able to join me was because my brother Godwin here had traveled to Nakuru to ask for Carol's hand in marriage. So we agreed that we will both take charge of the two very, very important ceremonies. So you still called to congratulate Koi on her achievement. Thank you very much, Uncle. As recent as September this year, you called me just to check on us. I wish I could show you this, because he said that I'm calling just to check on you in the midst of this corona pandemic. And as we went on to discuss, the conversation turned to, he asked me, and my Tomokoro, when are you finishing your PhD? Then he said, remember to acquire as much knowledge as you possibly can. And yes, Uncle, I will, with the help of God, complete my PhD. And although you will not be around to call me Dr. Wanjiku, or will it be Dr. Wandurwa, I know you will be very, very happy. And, we cannot forget your intervention in Jerry's asthma struggles. My daughter struggled with asthma for a very long time until she was in Form 2. And when she was in Form 2, my uncle and Lydia here prepared a special concoction, which my daughter took for 3 weeks. And dare I say, she's a living testimony. For the last over 8 years, she has not had a single attack of asthma. She has been asthma-free. For all of us nieces, we need very many days to say half the things that we can say about you, because there is so much. You touch each one of us in a unique and special way. We shall cherish every single moment we spent with you. And I guess this is our farewell, because we did not get the opportunity to say so. Allow me, Mchungaji, just 1 second, because we read something earlier in the morning, and I just want to reiterate the verse that we read, and I want to say it in a song, because if my uncle were to stand, this is what he would say. Nimevipiga vita, nimevipiga vita, vilivyo vizuri. Nimevipiga vita, nimevipiga vita, vilivyo vizuri. Mwendo nimeumaliza, imani nimeilinda. Mwendo nimeumaliza, imani nimeilinda. Mwendo nimeumaliza, imani nimeilinda. Mwendo nimeumaliza, imani nimeilinda. The good book says, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. Rest in peace, Uncle, till we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Now, Tom Mwangi, and I know you are going to be very brief. I've seen your points there on your notebook.
I'm Tom Mwangi, tribute on behalf of nephews. We are actually shocked that our uncle could have left us that early, but we take immeasurable pride in the number of years that we shared together, and also the pertinent and crucial contributions he imparted in our lives as I speak today. Well, one of the things that he actually led us to is what we can do to society so that it can be proud of us. Not necessarily on what we give to the society, but what the society can learn from us. And one of his pinnacle towards that end was his love, passion, and for education. On behalf of all the nephews, I can say this one strongly, without any doubt, that uncle regarded education so much. He knew that without education, definitely the lots of future, they just remain closed. And I remember most of the places he could visit, my home being one of them. After the Tete attended those greetings, the next thing he would ask was, where is your report card? Well, the performance was a bit poor, well, guidance was there. I remember when I was sitting for my KCPE, surprisingly, many of you may not know that this is school that I started and sat for my KCPE in 1986. And this is a ground that we are in. This is where my name could appear among those who could have done very well. This was because of the advice that I could get from it is one of the ironies of nature that my name is being called today to give a tribute on an uncle whom I worked so hard to emulate and not even to disappoint. Thank God that I decided to follow a career path through uncles. The second one, as I come to the end, it was on discipline. I want to believe, and this one I can say strongly, without any fear of contradiction, that all the nephews have been a testimony of what this case is. This one is evident in their family life, in their professional lives, as well as in their social lives. Uncle, the light that is shown upon us is not doomed. The light that is shown upon us, we can still see that light from the deep forest of Mount Kenya where you carried your research, from the slopes of Mount Kenya where you are raised, from the floors of Rift Valley where you perfected your career. Wherever you are, we promise you that the light that is shown upon us will continue lighting our path until we meet again. Fare thee well, Uncle.
Thank you, Tom Mwangi. I would like to make an announcement. If there are any pastors from Nairobi Chapel, you could come and sit here. Any pastors from Nairobi Chapel, if you have arrived, you could come over here. I would like now to invite one or two friends. Professor S.T. Kariuki had many friends. I don't think anybody could have afforded to become an enemy to S.T. as we called him. I would now like to call upon one of his friends, Edward Wahome from Nakuru, and then thereafter, Amos Jogu. Edward is over there. Amos Jogu, also please come closer.
Thank you very much. Someone said, at the beginning of our lives, we are acquaintances. At our noon, we are lovers. And in the evening, we are friends. I became acquainted to the late Professor Kariuki, whom we commonly refer to him as ST, when we were in high school. He was in Karakoya High School. I was in high school in Thika. Thereafter, we met at Kenyatta College, where we were training for the diploma college, teachers college. He became a member of Geographical Society, and together we are members of Wildlife Society. But much more, we met again at Egerton College. He went there before me, and I joined him there later on. And in those early days, when you were young, married, we were struggling to make life. We did businesses together. We tried to grow beans. We tried to grow maize, wheat, potatoes. This was quite a challenge. We used to walk on the road towards Likia to see whether we can find a piece of land we can own. We ended up by each an acre, and even today, as we speak, Professor Ladd is still there. But we became more close with ST because he was a very dedicated teacher. Either because it's the foundation he got from Kenyatta College. But I remember from the position I used to sit at the college, his work was excellent. There was one committee at Egerton then, which everyone wanted to be, but not everyone could have joined. That was a cultural committee, because the chairman wanted dedicated people who don't have to be followed around when they are given assignment to do it. Professor was a member of that committee, and he was very proud of it. When it came for a professor to go to North Carolina, remember when he went there, the promise was, here you get trained. Initially, when the selection was being done, he had to be passed on. And one day I went to his house and I told him, are you not interested to go to Stanley? And he told me I am. And my head of department knows. Then I was in a meeting where the list was being presented, and I did hear your name. And I told him, can you go and talk to your head of department? He told me, no, I've talked to him. I don't need to talk to him again. Anyhow, to cut a story short, I saw the head of department, who later told me the principal said no, but there was one person who was the chief of party of the program. I went to him, I don't know what I told him about Professor Kariuki. And he told him I take it personally. Well, he went to North Carolina. His studies at North Carolina was not easy. And I want to take a moment now to talk about the values of ST among the one you have had his student and family say. He was a very patient man. He would not complain. He would not grumble over anything. He was also a very perseverant. For Professor Kariuki to get a first degree at Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina, required someone who is very, very special. I remember one day I met the leader of the program. His name was Richard Dunn and Virginia. And when we were talking in his house, I told him I knew, one of the staff I knew was ST. And he told me, before you go to Kentucky, you are going, I would like you to go and meet with him. And I did. Anyhow, he graduated, finally came back to Egerton, and thereafter his studies were easy in Norway. But what many don't realize, it took ST a long time to be promoted, and he will never complain. He will meet and talk about it, say, I'll wait. At one time, he was offered professorship in other universities, and he'll come and tell me about it. And I tell, I think you should consider. And he tell me, the work I have started at Egerton, I just want to continue. Professor Kariuki was very committed to serve others. Besides plant and botanical gardens and other gardens like Egerton Castle Gardens and others, he was very passionate about goats. He introduced the llama, the llama from South America. He introduced that goat at Egerton and to other farmers in Kenya. And recently, we were talking with him, now you're about to retire. What is it you remember that you like to do most? And this is what he told me. When those farmers are disputed goats too, when some of them call me and they tell me my goats are still increasing, I feel very good. I would like to continue serving people. And I want to read to you because Steve was committed to serve. What it means to be a servant. I think it is Steve Covey who wrote in the form of a poem. I'm not going to read a part of it, not all of it. And that's what he said. Service is a form of service is the virtue that distinguishes the great of all times, and in which they will be remembered by. It places a mark of nobility upon its disciples. He went on to say, how much better it is to give than to receive. Service in any form is comely and beautiful. To give encouragement, to impart sympathy, to show interest, to banish fear, to build self-confidence, and to wake up hope in the hearts of others, love them and to show it, is to render the most precious service. That was Professor Kariuki. Recently, a friend of ours, Gavin Egerton and Kenyatta, died. And when we went for his funeral, we were talking with him, what can we do to remember this friend of ours? And we talked about how we can come back into his piece of land where he was buried, and we plant 69 trees because he died at the age of 69. And that is just this year. At least we know that one of us will follow. I hope people of Egerton, because there are many friends that we say here, who are students of Professor Kariuki, they are professors by themselves. He mentored them. The others who are even retired will join me to find a way we can plant 9 trees, indigenous trees, in the memory of our parents. When I grow up, and that be like my prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. May I call upon now Amos to come? And I hope that he'll be very brief. I know Amos is going to be, he's a banker, he's going to be very brief.
Bwana asifiwe. It is not easy to handle such a task that have been given, but I know that my brother ST, my friend, a person whom we have walked along for a long time, is resting in the hands of the Lord. It is not easy to say goodbye to a friend, a brother whom you loved so much. We have lived together with Professor ST with a lot of harmony. We have cared for each other so lovingly. We have done so much without any reservation. Believe me, we have shared so generously. Upon hearing the departure of our friend, and particularly I'm talking about the group that we have been having, the 5 families who are represented here, I'm just representing them. When we heard the departure of our brother, little did we believe what we heard. I remember seeing him in hospital, but he told me that soon and very soon he would be out of hospital, and actually he was quite stressed. The unity of the group, the support for each other, the fellowship we always have, the love we have for each other will never, and I mean will never cease. It will never cease. You have left us, our brother, but in our minds, you will remain. Rest forever till we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Amos. With the permission of the Bishop, I would like us to have a short interlude so that we can now, after that, listen to the 4 remaining speeches. I would like to ask the visiting choir or the choir to lead us in a short chorus. Short chorus as a short interlude before we complete the speeches. Choir leader, are you ready?
Shangai, Goroganata, Meshiya Makwa, Madaru, Tonowe Wiki, Wagereira, Jehovah Ngai, Otire Tawe. Takutumaini sina irandamu yake Yesu, sina wema wa kutosha, dhambi zangu kuziosha. Kwake Yesu nasimama, iye kwamba ni salama. Kwake Yesu mimi nasimama, iye kwamba ni salama. Yangu iwe
Thank you. You may sit now. I can see some people in academic regalia. I believe that they are representatives of Egerton University. I'll give them time to settle there, and I'll call them in a moment. Before they come on, there is a group that really wanted to say something. That is Kariuki Welfare Group, led by Professor Peter Kabuitu. Peter Kabuitu, your group, are you ready?
Yes, we have some members here.
You have some members. You want them to come over? Or represent them, please.
That have been admitted in the advanced age and give a room out there. It was such such acts that you cannot forget. Others are like when we connected in research. He would take us to the grassroots of the country. And I can proudly see one of them here from Gorica. I'm not going to ask him to stand, but he stands as a testimony of how he connected well with the grassroots. No wonder he was accepted in the various community-based research that have been championed here. Further, he blended well with all activities beyond his family. Of course, he was a very strong family member, as the family people have already said. I can testify that in our occasions within that group, there is not a single occasion, graduation, wedding, birthday, whatever socializations we were doing, that he failed to come. Despite the fact that most of us live in Nairobi, he would commute, drive, Nakuru, Nairobi, finish the activities in Nairobi, and as we probably sometimes will extend a little bit further into the afternoons or towards the evening, would encourage him, we have spaces here, why don't you put up? And he would say, no, tomorrow I have a journey to Kakamega Forest, I have to go back. And that kind of commitment, without complaining, he was selfless and available for every activities that the group undertook. Further, I would also say that besides the group's activity, he was a mentor. All these schools around here, okay, this association of ours, if I would say so, is a welfare association of 7 members. Now we are left 6 of us. What we have done here is that most of us are members of the BOM or sometimes chairmen of the BOM. And what we would do is would arrange that every year we are going to participate in prize giving days and honor the best performance with some kind of token. So we would exchange. He would be available to come to my, by the way, I come from not so far away from here. I'm within the same county with him. Professor Mwangi is also from this same county, and we are so proud. Of course, now we are left with Professor Mwangi to champion the academia. So we would go down there and honor them with tokens. We would cross-fertilize, in other words. That is something we will not wish to forget. And by so doing, we are so proud that this area now has sprouted quite a number of students into Egerton University, University of Nairobi, various other public universities. We are so happy that Professor joined us in that and also led us very passionately to make sure that we remain together. We shall truly miss him as a dear friend. Bless in peace, our dear friend, Professor.
Thank you very much, Prof. We now usher in the dons from the Egerton University, the professional colleagues of the late Professor Samuel Kariuki. They are representing the university. Please come over. It looks as if they are ready to do a skit. I don't know.
Mrs. Kariuki, the children of ST, the siblings, relatives, neighbors. First, I will start by offering my deepest sorry on such a great loss. Professor Kariuki, I have known him for many years through Professor Mwangi. We did research together, we did publish together, and when I came to serve Egerton as a Deputy Vice Chancellor, most people didn't know, but he's the only person I knew before I landed at Egerton. And we remained close. The last communication I had with the professor was on 4th, a few minutes past noon, because I had sent him a message that he was in my prayers, and they told me in a text that thanks, Prof. Then on 5th, I was chairing a meeting at the university. And the Professor Mwangi called me just a few minutes to 11. And they said, I have bad news. So he's actually the one who broke the news to me that ST was no longer with us. So even as distant as I am from the family, I felt a great loss. I feel, don't forget clearly that ST is actually not with us anymore. So as you mourn, just know that there are many friends of ST who are mourning with you, that ST cannot be with us. I think many things have been said about him. I don't have to repeat. I can only say that there are many things that I had misses where we should have met and perhaps spend more time. I remember I was supposed to attend the wedding of Carol. I even have the wedding card, but I couldn't because there was such a function at home. When I say at home, maybe I didn't say, my name is Kibwage, I come from Kisii, and when you have this kind of functions, some of us must really attend. Then I think a few weeks ago, I was supposed also to have a chance to be with them in Embu when they went to look for a partner for the son of Professor Mwangi. But I also couldn't travel because I had other pressing prior engagements. But we kept talking with the Kariuki. But I didn't know that he was unwell until I was told that he is actually in ICU. Then I know what ICU means. Unless you want to go and see someone lying there, I said, okay, I'll see you when you recover. I had that faith. I remember on 2nd of November, again in this SMS, he told me he had improved tremendously. A few people traveled from Egerton to here today to show you that where ST has spent most of his life, he has many friends. Most of them couldn't come, but a few of them are here. You see the professors here who are around. I don't think they are giving me a guard of honor, but they came to mourn ST. Master of ceremony, I'll just ask each of them just to say the name so that we are all enjoying in the morning, and that I read the message on behalf of the institution. I would like to start from there. Say your name, please.
God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. My name is Professor Michael Kilor, a neighbor in the office arrangement with ST. May his soul rest in peace.
Habari zenu, naitwa Profesa Simon Mahungu. Kwetu ni hapa tu jirani Mkoroini. Tumekuwa tukifanya kazi na ST division 1 ya research. Asanteni.
Habari zenu, majina ni Charles Ntwelimba. Mimi nilikuwa nafanya na Kariuki rehabilitation of Jorori.
Familia na marafiki wa profesa, hamjambo. Kwa majina naitwa Julius Kipkemboi. Mimi nimekuwa nikifanya kazi na profesa katika department ya biological sciences.
Habari zenu, majina ni Josephat Matasio na nimefanya research sana na Kariuki for the last 20 years.
God is good and all the time. Mimi naitwa Professor Daniel Rutai. Professor Kariuki was my teacher, and then we are colleagues. Our office is just neighboring. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. My name is Dr. Pamina Smegwe. I'm in the Faculty of Agriculture. One time I worked with Dr. Kariuki when I was a member of the committee of the Botanic Garden in Egerton University, where Professor Kariuki was very, very instrumental in making a very beautiful garden for the staff and the students to go and relax there when they have got a stress. That place is still there, and many visitors come and normally enjoy the serenity, which is the legacy of Professor Kariuki. Thank you.
Praise God. My name is Dr. Moses Gishuki, currently serving as the Dean, Faculty of Science, which is host to the Department of Biological Sciences, where Professor S.T. Kariuki worked for many years. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Bwana asifiwe. God is good and all the time. My name is Professor Monique Ngari. I work at the Department of Chemistry. I knew Kariuki much earlier because the wife comes from my place. Kuitoninga Yama, kurea mutumia wa Kariuki umete. So apart from being a colleague, we are very close family friends. May his soul rest in peace.
So those are things of Professor Kariuki. There are also others. Please, can you stand where you are and wave? Those who came from Egerton who are seated there. There are others there. So there is a nice contingent from Egerton who came to mourn our vested colleague. This is a message of condolence from the institution, the office of the Vice Chancellor, Lydia Mulangi Kariuki, family, relatives and friends of the late Professor Samuel Kariuki Kabuitu. Message of condolence. It is with profound sorrow that we at Egerton University have learned about the death of your loving husband, Professor Samuel Kariuki Kabuitu, on 5th November 2020 at Karen Hospital. We are sincerely sorry for the loss. Professor Kariuki joined Egerton University in 1978 at the biology department. He rose through the academic ranks to his present rank of an associate professor of botany. He has been a coordinator of the University Biodiversity Center, Botanic Garden, in charge of Herbal Medicine Center, and environmental conservation outreach programs. At the department, he served not only in teaching, but also as a departmental examination officer and as a departmental representative in the Faculty of Science Curriculum Development. He was in charge of research projects, namely network utilization and conservation in Kenya, conservation's profitable cultivation, efficient processing of Kenyan algae, amongst several others. He was a member to Natural Products Research Network for East and Central Africa and Africa, and a member of East Africa Water Association. He was indeed a very dedicated member of staff, humble, and related very well with his colleagues and his services. Will be greatly missed. No one can replace your husband, but God can comfort your heart. He knows what you need during this time much better than anyone else. At this time of sorrow, we join you in mourning the death of your beloved one, and would like to assure you that we share the grief following this great loss. To you, Lydia, and family members, the best and everlasting respect that you can pay to your beloved is to continue remembering and emulating all the good that you learned from him. I would like to encourage you to continue depending on God, who will give you the fortitude to bear the grief. Let us take consolation that death is a transition to a better place. We thank God for having given him to us for a fraction of the eternity of time. On behalf of myself and the entire Egerton University, I would like to convey our sincere condolences and pray to God to rest his soul in eternal peace. Signed by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Rose Mwenya. Rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the VC's speech. And also thank you very much for the Dons who have come to stand with their fallen colleague, Professor St. Kariuki. I think you presented your skit. That was a skit of some sorts. We are now moving almost to the end. And at this point, the ACK St. Christopher's Nakuru representative is supposed to say something. My name is Munge, Lay Canon Edward Munge. I was supposed to make that speech, but my senior is here, and I thought that I could be able to ask him to say a few things. I would like to invite our vicar, Archdeacon Venerable Martin Kabiru to come and say something.
Thank you so much, Colonel Munge, our Lord Bishop, the Bishop of the Diocese of Kirinyaga, and also the priests that are present here, all protocols observed. We come because of the love of Christ, coming to bid farewell to our late brother, Professor S.T. Kariuki, as we always called him, even in the conference of our church. And we come with a team, accompanied with me is the clergy. We have, and I want to just take the opportunity because we're not going to do introduction on the to save time. We have our brother, Reverend Simon, who comes with us, who is also the principal of the Radiological College. We have our brother Moses Yongo, who is also the chaplain of Nakuru campus, St. Paul's University. Also, we came with our lay leader, who is also the vice chair of our parish, our brother John Ngugi. I also was accompanied with my wife, Susan. I don't know where she is seated. Susan, okay, on the other end. And I want to request all the members of St. Christopher, because I know there is some few people who are also able to come. Would you mind to stand where you are? Just stand where you are. We want to really recognize this is the team that came all the way from Nakuru. We really come to honor our brother. May the Lord bless you so much for finding time. And also not forgetting our Lay Canon Munge, who is also part of us in SEK St. Christopher's. Now, brethren and the congregation, I have just a few things to eulogize our brother. He is not only a member of the church, he grew to be a personal friend and a friend to many. When people talk about S.T. Kariuki, Professor, one of the things that is amazing with him, he was a man who built social capital. It's amazing that Professor Kariuki, since I met him for the first time, I was remembering that it was in 2005 when I was posted to one of the parishes at Emmanuel Teachers, Kitty. And when we were coming up, I was advised by one of the clergy, with Reverend Campbell, about how he would advise us to be able to bring up trees that will not affect the building, at the same time that will be able to be conducive even to the environment. And I sat with him in one of the restaurants in Nakuru, together with Reverend Campbell, as he was able to advise us. And he came all the way just to see how the piece of the land was, and that was my first encounter with Professor. Little did I know that our paths would cross, and then I'll be able to be his shepherd together with the family, and I want to thank God because of that. Now, ST was not a man that drove a very big car. He's not a man who lived in a very big mansion or bungalow. He's not a man that used to put on very expensive regalias. It is amazing that ST had no taste of such kind of a life, that would make your head turn. Even very few people would have known the kind of a big mind he carried. It's amazing that ST people are able to recognize him when he has been able to accomplish his purpose here on earth. He was a humble man, but he was very knowledgeable. He was a courteous man. Even with the honor, with the big mind, with the social capital of friends and people, he was able to be a committed person about anything that was committed to his hand. He's a man that taught me how to balance between the family, work, and amazingly, the service of the kingdom. He served as a warden of the parish for many years. And you remember, this was a person that was committed. When we had meetings and an appointment, he was a great timekeeper. He would be there 10 minutes, even seated on his car at the car lot, waiting that the meeting would start. He was a person who was disciplined. Whoever came or maybe interacted with Professor Kariuki can bear me witness that he was a disciplined man. One of the things I realized one time is because when the COVID issues came, and there was a friend who died in the US through an accident, and there was the lockdown, and they were struggling to bring the body back to the country. I remember the many meetings we sat with his friends, Mr. Wahome. But Wahome, you can bear witness that when you came, every time Professor told us, we can only sit out here in the balcony, putting on our mask, and he kept reminding us, let us keep social distance. It's amazing that he was a man who took discipline seriously. When I remember Professor, he was also a person who was really in honor of relationships other than material things. Not once or twice, even the time of coronavirus, he called me and asked me, Vika, I know you keep checking on us and praying for us even when you're away. Who checks on you? And my mama, Radia, can bear me witness that twice they came just to check on us. And I saw the love, the concern, and also the care that he held and carried his life. We may forget, by the way, sometimes people forget. We may forget the works that he did. We may forget the big things that he built. But I can say here, we shall never forget what ST Professor Kariuki did when he touched our hearts. And I know all of us have been left with a print in our hearts about who he was. Finally, I thank God for his courtesy. When they visited with the wife of Mama Radia, you will see how courteous he was to the wife. He was a patient man who sit and respect her wife when she talked. And you realize that she would just listen to the talks, come in and support the things that were happening. A very courteous man. And finally, I would just want to say, I thank God that when he was doing his purpose here on earth, he never forgot that there is another world, there is another life after death. He committed his life to Christ. He professed it before us. He preached to us about it. He continued to encourage his mutar and the church about the issues of the kingdom. And the family have bear witness that every time they congregated, he became the pastor of the clan. And what do we say? Mama Radia, it's amazing, Bishop. It's amazing that I have an interesting relationship with Mama Radia. When we had an occasion of my official welcome at St. Christopher's Menengai Parish, when my mother came, it's like they called each other, and I didn't know. It was so shocking for me that my mama and Mama Radia were in the same class in high school at Kabare High School, Girls High School. And she called my mother with her maiden name, Wambui. That was so shocking. And then she said, my mama told me, if you hear someone call me that name, it's someone who knows me. Only later to inquire and realize that Professor went to school with the brother of my father, Dr. Kabunya, and he was telling me in Kulwea boys. And therefore they also became more closer, and we continued. And lastly, I just want to say, he did not do only a botanical garden in Egerton. He also translated that to our church, because we have an orchard. In every meeting, our brother, I can remember Brother Jonah, when all the agendas were done and you're saying A or B, he would always ask Professor, Prof, do you have anything to say about the orchard? And he would just make a joke and say, well, Jonah, orchard tutafanyia nje. And I thank God, because everything that he believed in, he made sure that wherever he went, he left a mark. With all those many words, I would say, Mama Radia, the Lord will never forget the service, the work, the support you have given not only to Professor, but the whole family, and the Lord is faithful, carry you through. The children of our brother, God will be with you. Yes, Dad has rested with the Lord, but the face of God will continue to shine upon you and the whole extended family. Professor ST have rested in the hands of He who is life and resurrection. And therefore we have no fear, we have no doubt that he has rested in the right place. And may the peace of God be with all of us. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you very much, Vika. We fully identify With those words, all of us at St. Christopher's, and I believe that even other members in this congregation do the same. I want to make the last call for the government representative. If there is a government representative, maybe county commissioner or chief, assistant chief, even MCA, that is the last call now, so that we do not miss the mark. Thank you. If you are not there, we will now proceed to the last speaker, who is going to speak on behalf of the family, the clan, and that will be Bishop Emeritus Daniel Goru. I am Bishop Ngoru, and I love Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. I am a member of this family, and I have been asked to speak on behalf of the family or of the clan as a whole. I am missing words because you have used all the adjectives that can describe our professor here. I knew him as a young brother, and we have worked together. We have been encouraged by his contribution, not just in the society, but at home. In Kikuyu, they say, Gima yumaga motuine. If you are preparing ugali, ugali itakuwa nzuri maana umetumia unga ule unafaa. The dad of professor here was called Thomas. During the time of the emergency, that's colonial time, before we got our independence, he went to look for a job in Mombasa. He got it. But in Ikene Primary School, there was no teacher who could teach a class there. The elders organized themselves to go and ask him to retire there and come back home because there is a school and there is no teacher. He did it. He came. He started teaching there, and later he left teaching. He worked with the Minister of Agriculture, so he knew this area. And then later, he retired as an assistant chief. When we see the characteristics and what has happened to the children, even the grandchildren who are here talking, we just say, God, this heritage was given in the right hands. In Psalm 127, the Psalm says, children are a heritage. You have been given a heritage in your hands. You prepare them, and when they are ready, you hand the mantle to them. We are happy for what we see now here. It is from the hands of Kabuitu and his wife who has gone earlier. He was able to prepare the men and women who are here, and even the grandchildren and great-grandchildren. You have seen them and what they are saying. He has set an example, and we are told he humbled himself, a man of humility, a man who could be everywhere where he is required to be. Why I was looking for this microphone is because I wanted to walk there and then return the mic to you, if you allow me. This mic. He was able
to be wherever he is required, his presence. And at one time he told me, Bishop, we need to reward people who are before us and have made a contribution to go and sit with them and share with them. One of them is here. This man here is called Brigadier, this one. He fought for Mau Mau, though he's living in Nakuru, but he happened to come from here. We said we are not going to let Brigadier die before you have a session with him. We walked with the professor and we met him. He says in Nyandarua, Gorika. He told me we have not finished. We went to Motugi here, the labor commissioner, Kenya, when we got independent. He comes from here. And we said, who are we? What are we? We need to go and sit with these men of wisdom, share with them, and tell them the contribution they made in this country. We need to tell them thank you, and we need to encourage other people. That was this professor. Let us move out of comfortable zone. We go and sit with the people who have really done a lot of work to us and tell them thank you. He was a man of integrity. Someone from India, church leader, he wrote a letter to the graduates and professors who happened to come from that area of India, and they were away. He told them to come back home if they have not compromised their integrity. Though India is poor, where we come from, if there are men and women in America, in Europe, who have not compromised their integrity, let them come home. We need them so that we can deliver. Kariuki is there, but always during the weekend here, he is moving here and there, and nobody is filling his vehicle. He wants to help others who are behind. And from our parents, from this clan, we were told, do not get that which does not belong to you. It will not help you. Free from corruption. Guard your integrity wherever you be. And we are very grateful for the stories we are hearing here. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24 says, wherever you are, make friends, and you are warned, you can have friends who are more closer to you even than your brother. We see the staffs and the members from Egerton, members from Nairobi, people of all walks of life to come and stand with us here. It did not just come. It is from this humble man who humbled himself, free from corruption, and he knew God and he made friends, and that's why you are here. May God bless you, because this challenge is to us. Live this life, get whatever God gives you, but corruption or compromising your integrity, it does not help. Those are the kind of people we are encouraged to have in our family, in our clan, because our foreparents have demonstrated you can live within your own means, live with glory, and have whatever you require. Be faithful to the Lord, so that when you go to account, God will reward you. What kind of integrity am I to be talking about here? We had a Reverend Father in one of mission stations around here. He went to get fuel from a petrol station. After fueling the vehicle, he was told, Father, there is a raffle here. You can get a raffle ticket. And maybe when the draw comes, you can win something. Father went, he was given a ticket. And when the draw came, they came back to Reverend Father, told him, you have won a vehicle. And so we want you to give us the details of your name, because the vehicle is there. He said, I am not the one who is going to own this vehicle. I'm working for the church. The church fueled this vehicle, it is their church. So if you want to write the details, get the details from the church, because myself and whatever is happening, I don't own, they belong to another person. Whatever God has given you, you are a steward. Be faithful and God will bless you. We have taken your challenges. We try to emulate our brother here, this family, and all of us here. We humble ourselves before the Lord and hope that one day, before we go to join those who have gone before us, we can account to our Lord, and then we shall be rewarded. Feel at home. This is Kareti Ward from Sagana, the way we are going. We love you, and we are very happy the way you lived with our son. You are talking about botanical garden. Beyond the fence here, you find another one. Professor used to come, and we have another garden there. Mine, almost like the botanical garden in your university, because I used to visit there. And when I saw what was happening, I thought you can have a tree, and better a tree with history that can help. I joined him in preserving. So he knows something, he's able to go and help the other. And those kind of people, we would like to have more of them. May his soul rest in God's hand and have eternal peace. God bless you.
Keep on sanitizing if you have an opportunity to do so. I know the vicar was standing, but now we are finishing. We want to finish the first part, and you can be able to take over. And because we won't come back here, I want to call upon the person who is going to move a vote of thanks on behalf of all of us, and to thank all the speakers who have come here. These were wonderful remembrances of our late brother, Professor S.T. Kariuki. I want to call upon Pauline Karuga.
Thank you very much.
Eston, when you are here, I think you are all giving the thanks.
Okay, I who is standing before you, my name is Godwin Karuga. I'm husband to Carol, passport of the late Prof. So Prof is my father. I will start by thanking all of you for being here. We don't take it for granted that you found time to be here, and we also did not have this opportunity to thank everyone who attended the service on Monday at All Saints Cathedral. So we do thank all of you for being there. But befittingly, we want to start by thanking the Almighty for allowing us to be here and for the gift of life. Secondly, we would like to thank all the friends and relatives who, in spite, have been there with us, standing with the whole family, and being very supportive, very generous. I'd like to mention Ruth and James Kagia. Despite their advance in age, Ruth has always been there. James was there in the service. And it's just wonderful to see them, how Ruth has really taken us as our parents. Ruth has basically decided that that's my mother, because I lost my mother a few years ago, much as she was the friend to my wife. Karuga, to your wife and all the people in Indianapolis, we wish to thank them all for the support and for allowing you to be here with us to escort that.
We also wish to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic, who was ably represented by CS Matiang'i on Monday, who read his speech in condoling with the family and the send-off for Professor. To the entire Kabuitu family, you are truly grateful and wonderful people, unique bound. Basically, you have lost your matriarch just 2 years ago, and in a span of 5 months, you've lost 2 members. It cannot be easy, but we trust God and we thank God for all that has happened. I became a member of this family not too long ago, but they have embraced me as one of them, and I truly do appreciate. We'd also like to thank the Jeton University fraternity for taking time to be here with us. You are represented by Vice Chancellor on Monday, and I think she's still with you, and the Vice Chancellor who was here. Thank you so much for being here and standing in the sun in those gowns. But I think you're used to it in your team graduation. But good to see you all, and thank you very much for being here. Ma'am, thank you for holding strong in Nakuru. The coordination was not easy by being in Nairobi, but it's not taken for granted. People who are usually forgotten, on Saturday we came and we witnessed a multitude of people digging the grave. For the grave diggers, thank you very much. I think, if I'm not wrong, Uncle Weston, there were almost 30 or almost 50 people who are there to do that. That is just great to see that. Thank you very much to the whole team. We'd also like to thank the Ministry of Public Works, led by CS Kamau and PS Maringa. You've seen the roads being done, the road to this school and the road to the church. Thank you very much for that. We don't take it for granted. For clergy, we have not fallen short of churches' support. Nairobi Chapel, Ngong Road, you've been very supportive. And I think Reverend Faith Mugera is here. I'd ask her just to stand and wave. Reverend Faith Mugera, just stand and wave. Thank you very much. She represents Nairobi Chapel, Ngong Road. And all, basically when we had the meetings at St. Andrews, Nairobi Chapel ably conducted those services. Thank you very much, Nairobi Chapel. There are a few people I would like to mention who are very special in this journey. Allow me to mention just a few. Wamboi Alice, Dr. Catherine and Minor, Dr. Rose Kimani, Dr. Ashek Kombe, Shirokimo Chesaina, Faith and Patrick Mugera, Jane and Ken Wathome, Reverend Zabo and Lavina continue here. Thank you very much. And Bishop Oscar and Reverend Beatrice, who heads the Nairobi Chapel Church. They've come, they spent nights at our place. It's not been an easy journey, but we thank you very much. But the last person I'd like to mention is Shiro Janet, who moved in with us about a month ago because my wife is still recovering from an operation. Shiro Janet, we don't take it for granted, and may the Almighty continue to bless you. All Saints Cathedral, St. Christopher, St. Stephen, thank you all for standing with the family. Nairobi Baptist, represented by Reverend Mulandi, who preached on Monday. We don't take it for granted. Thank you very much. The doctors who took care of that, doctors in Nakuru, doctors at Karen Hospital, led by Dr. Nyale, Dr. Irongo, and the ambulance team that brought that to Nairobi from Nakuru. Thank you, Karen. You took care of that. Friends of my wife, JLW, led by Wabi, Amanda, Jackie, thank you very much for standing with my wife. Maturi, Shirokim, Winnie, Karanyaga, you are special. Thank you all. If I have forgotten to mention you, just know that you are all special in our hearts. Thank you very much. I'll ask Uncle Weston to say a few words if I've forgotten anybody. Thank you very much.
God is good, and all the time. This is the clan you see. And I'm here as his baby brother. We have walked a long journey with him. He has sacrificed a lot for us, his siblings. And we have also, or he has also given us an opportunity to be part of him. Maybe the Egerton fraternity may not be aware that the PhD he got from there was a PhD in which every member of the family contributed. Our children did the typesetting. Others did a collection of some of the specimens. And I, who is not a scientist in that area, was tasked with the proofreading. Yes, and it was not very easy. Sometimes I would request him to provide me with the botanical dictionary. Even at the time of identifying the field of his research, I had to be involved a great deal. He came over here and we traveled a lot in Mount Kenya. I remember sometimes assisting him identify the groups which he would work with. It was not very easy, but we did it. To all members of our community here in Kareti, I'd wish to thank you a great deal, and especially our retired bishop. God has been kind to this family because our retired bishop is part of us. The clergy of our local church in Gitaraga, you did a great job. You are there with us virtually every day at our brother's home where we congregated for prayers. We had the support from the Kela, the county, and the government of Kenya, as our son Godwin had said. Our youth, we cannot forget to say Asante Sana, because you prepared the final resting place for my brother. My brother, you sacrificed a lot for me. I cannot forget. You had so much faith in me. At one time, as you traveled to America, you told me to take care of your family. And Mr. Wahome is a witness to this. Since you have left us, I know I was 2 years younger than you. I'll still take care of that family. May God bless you all. Amen.
Thank you very much. My Lord Bishop, Right Reverend Joseph Kibuitu, the Bishop of Kirinyaga Diocese, Anglican Diocese, Church of Kenya. I want to thank you so much for coming to bury this great son of this area and Kenya, and also for giving me the opportunity. You are the leader of the service, giving me the opportunity to come and do this little duty for my best friend, Professor St. Kariuki. I'd like to maybe let you know that I chose Professor St. Kariuki to be my best man in our wedding. I looked at his character. He's a man of noble character. Not in the sense of aristocracy, but a person of outstanding character. That is how you describe a person like ST, a person of noble character, in a very short form. I hand over now to the vicar to take us to the next session.
Bwana asifiwe. Mimi naitwa Joseph Kanyagia, Vicar in charge of this parish, na ndiye parish ya nyumbani ya Profesa Kariuki. Profesa Kariuki alikuwa msaidizi wetu mzuri, kwa sababu every year walikuwa wanakuja kwa Thanksgiving, na sisi tukajuana, tukamjua ni mtu ambaye mtu wa maendeleo, akatusaidia sana. Na sisi ni kweli pamoja na family tuko na hiyo huzuni. Tungesema ni kwa sababu ni Mungu ambaye ametenda hivi. Yetu ni kusema Profesa Kariuki aende salama na alale vizuri, na tuko na hope tutapatana na profesa huko juu, kwa sababu sisi ni wa Kristo. Sasa pamoja na mimi niko na wachungaji wa nyumbani. Mmoja wao tuko na Reverend Pauline Mwangi, na muona hapa simama, ni wetu hapa nyumbani. Tuko na Reverend Jason Mulivi, simama, with the congregation. Na tuko na leaders wetu ambaye wako hapa. Tuko na Paris, simama. Tuko na Mrs. Miano, na pia tuko na wengine. Tuko na Reverend Christopher with the congregation, na leader wetu with the congregation. Tuko hivyo, na ni kweli tunaendelea kuomboleza, na tunajua Mungu ako pamoja na sisi. Na sasa kindly, kabla ya kusikia neno, ningeuliza tutoe sadaka kindly, na tutaongozwa na kwaya zetu. Tuko na kwaya ya Gitaraga na Githowaini. Hawa tuongeza na kuimba na kusanya hiyo sadaka. Hebu tusimame sote ili tujitayarishe katika hiyo. Choir members.
All good things come from you, O Lord. And back to you we have given what we have given. Receive it and bless it. Bless the givers as well. For this we pray in Jesus' name. Please be seated. We also acknowledge condolences from Bishop Joseph Muchai, the Bishop of Nakuru. He's aware that there's a team that is here from Nakuru, and he sent his message. Kolerendia na ciana ciaku kumwira o thaburi iria tuthomire 121 Daudi akiuga ngutira maitho na iguru njurie uteithio wakwa ugukiuma nako na agicokeria owe akiuga uteithio wakwa no umire kuri Ngai uria wombire iguru na thi ucio wombire iguru na thi ni ariukaga kumurora na ndangimutiga muri inyuiki. I know this is a mixed congregation. No ni kuri muthuri wetwo Professor Ngugi Professor Kugi erigite kuheo kibeo kiari kia goro muno, and he spoke to the global audience in his vernacular. Rĩu ti ũru rĩrĩa moka grassroots kũigua language ĩrĩa yaragio gũkũ icagi. Nĩngũririkana there is a prominent politician who died in Rift Valley a few years ago, and the service was broadcast even in TVs, and the whole service was done in their local language. So rĩrĩa moka gĩcagi rĩu mwĩtĩkagĩre twarie language ĩrĩa twaragia rĩrĩa tũgũgetha kahũa, rĩrĩa tũgũtua majani, rĩrĩa tũgũtaba maĩ rũĩ, ona rĩrĩa tũkwendia mboco na mbembe thoko. My name is Joseph Kariuki Kabuitu. I love Christ as my Savior. I met Professor Kariuki in one of our local schools, a day school, during a prize giving day. And he had come to be with us and the students, encouraging them of the need to work hard. And he was talking about what the professors in this region intended to do to promote education at the local level. A humble man, very, very passionate about what he believed in. What is in a name? The name Samuel. Samuel was one of the prominent prophets in the Bible. In fact, he was the last judge. And you know that Samuel was a product of prayer. And when he was born, his mother said, God has heard my prayer, and he called him Samuel. And we know that Samuel fulfilled God's purpose in his life. And we can say the same thing about Professor Kariuki. He's a man who has fulfilled God's promise, God's plan in his life. No, Jeremiah 29 verse 11, Jeremiah tells us, I know the plans I have for you. That is God who is talking. God has a plan. Feel the